gonna be alright. Shine your light.
Hello, somebody around you.
When your world seems dark, shine your light. Love ignites a spark. Shine your light. Everything's gonna be alright. So just shine your light.
Everybody now,
Shine your light.
so just
Shine your light.
Yeah.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. And good morning to all of our live streamers. We welcome you and hope when you're in our neighborhood you come and visit us. And those of you that are being lazy, I don't blame you. It's cold out there.
I was decorating my tree and an ornament fell off, so I decided to make it into a shirt. Is that fun? I feel like I'm an ornament from a tree. I know. If I had an LED light, can you imagine? Anyway, let's go pray in. What do you think? Take a deep breath in. Go ahead and get the big sigh on the exhale, because you know what? There's something about that physical reaction that allows us to release a little more stress. Take a deep breath in. During this holiday season, it's easy to get wrapped up in things to do and places to go and people to see and things to buy and cards to write, blah, blah, blah. And it is right now, blah, blah, blah. Let's just become fully present in this moment. When I say fully present in this moment, I just mean allow yourself during this next few minutes that if any thoughts arise of something that you're struggling with or something you have to do or just anything other than being in this room, see it whisking through your mind onto the other side and outside of your head. Give it safe passage. Don't grab onto it. Just let it go. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light my way. Show me the way. Sing after me, please. Show me the way. Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Your love will light my way. Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Your peace will light my way. Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Your truth will light my way. And your love will light my way. And your peace will light my way. And your truth will light my way. Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om.
And as we relax into this moment, let us recognize one creative spirit, that which is the cause of all life. And in this recognition, we remember that everything we see and sense, all that is outside of us and all that we feel within, is this spirit I call God. And in this festive holiday season, God shows up in so many wonderful ways, reminding us of its presence. It appears as beauty and joy, as love and light, as peace and goodwill. And in this awareness, we are so deeply connected with that presence. We are one with our source as it flows in, through, and around each one of us at each and every turn. For this is the season of recognition of that divine givingness that is apparent all year round, but is emphasized as we act as that conduit for God's expression in so many beautiful ways. And yet we know deep within ourselves that our gifts, those gifts, are already given. They're here all the time. All we need do is open up to them and receive them. And so in this moment, let us open to the gift of health and well-being, recognizing that we are one with God's wholeness and perfection. And let us open to the gift of sustenance and support, knowing that we are one in God's divine givingness, God's abundant unlimitedness. And let us open to the gift of loving relationships, recognizing that we are constantly loved in a love that is unconditional and is constantly there for us. And let us open up to the gift of peace and harmony as we recognize that there is a divine order beneath all appearance that is always unfolding for the highest and the best of each one. And lastly, but not the least, let us open to the gift of joy, the joy of the greatest gift of all, life. Life and the ability to share in this marvelous wonderment we call God. And so with gratitude, we open to receive these gifts and so much more. And as we release these words into that law that is the activity of God, we recognize that greater things continue to manifest for us. And if you claim this for yourself, please join me in affirming the words of this prayer by saying together, And so it is. Amen.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I awake in this holy silence. I hear all that has never been said, and right here in this holy silence I find God when I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So we awake in this holy silence. We hear all that needs to be said, and right here in this holy silence we find God when we find ourselves. And I find God when I find myself. And you find God when you find yourself. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, sending out joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me, sending out peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me, sending out love, sing it out. I send my love over the mountains. Let me hear you. I send my love, there we go, over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me. Okay, I'm going to talk fast. Are you ready? We've been talking about building a world that works for everyone. We got one more Sunday because we're going to be the 24th. We won't be here next Sunday, but we're doing something on Christmas Eve. The monthly theme is the living spirit. Today's theme is we look too far for the truth, and I changed my talk title at the very last minute. When did he say that? And this is referring to some Raymond Charles Barker quotes. It's funny, I took the time to, I didn't take the time, I found myself watching the news. But I did an experiment. I watched the news at the same time I was reading my Raymond Charles Barker book. And so every time I would hear something, I told myself, you have to find something in the book that relates to this. So I actually went through and found several things that were going on in the world around me, and then I applied it to my own personal life, not just what was going on in the world. But you're going to find some really interesting things because he wrote this stuff in 1950s. So all these quotes come from the 1950s. When? 1950s. Come on, engage people. I know you're a little bit slow on the uptake. We're going to go. Here we go. Here's your affirmation for today. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. We look at the future through our present problems. The future is not conditioned. We are. We're looking at the world through our present problems, and what we're saying is that the world is going to unfold that way. Well, it won't if we don't think it's going to unfold that way. But as long as we have the consciousness that that's the way it's going to be, then that's the way it's going to be. If you have something in your life, if you're looking at something that's going on in your life, if that's the way you think it's going to be, I guarantee you that's the way it's going to be. So if you're looking at it and you feel good about it, it will work out well. If you look at it and you're feeling depressed or upset or anxious about it, it won't work out the way you want it to work out. We look at it through our eyes, and the universe is not conditioned by anything. We are. We're coming from condition. Does that make sense? The only thing that stands in the way of heaven on earth is humanity not knowing its divinity. The only thing that's standing in the way is us not knowing who we really are. Not knowing that we're that divine infinite presence, that divine infinite love expressing itself, experiencing itself every single day. We forget that, and when we forget that, we get into the human condition. And it's really easy to get into the human condition and watch around us how easy it is to feel down sometimes about being in the human condition right now. So it requires us to wake up and say, wait a minute, I am not going to be this, I'm going to be better than that. I'm going to be better than what everybody's telling me I'm supposed to be. Does that make sense? We are never improved by being told our faults. Anyone? Anyone? If someone ever says, there's something I have to tell you that you need to know about yourself, run. Throw a hammer down and run. Just run. I'm out. We respond to praise and we cringe under condemnation. Now, the funny thing is we respond to praise from other people, but we really don't. A lot of times we'll go, oh no, that's just, come on. Seriously? I'm not like that. But I tell you what, the condemnation usually comes from within. The condemnation usually comes from within. We usually beat ourselves up better than anyone else can beat us up. So we cringe under that kind of thing, but we cringe from the outside, but most of all, we find ourselves cringing from the inside, from what the inner voice is telling us. Other people are praising us, telling us things, and we can't believe it because the noise in our head is so negative about ourselves, then we can't manifest the good because we're actually believing our own dialogue versus what people are observing about us. Does that make sense? All right, together please. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. Rise in the dignity of your spiritual nature and live with authority over your life experience. How many people, don't answer this, but I was watching the news and I was watching some survey that they did. And in this survey, they said, so many of us are feeling hopeless or helpless or lost at this particular time in our country's future. And people were resonating that. There was a very high percentage on every side of the political spectrum. Didn't matter. There's this great uncertainty, this uneasiness that's going on. And so I realized, you know what? I was hearing that, and I thought, okay, I know in this book from Raymond Charles, I love Raymond Charles Barker. That's why I'm teaching him again in January, The Power of Decision. We'll talk about that later. Rise in the dignity of your spiritual nature. Dignity of your spiritual nature. Don't allow yourselves to have someone else take away the dignity of your spiritual nature. It's always been intact, always will be intact, as long as you recognize it as being intact. Does that make sense? And live with authority over your life experience. I reflect back many years ago during one of the last recessions that we had, and how I've told you the story that I decided as the spiritual leader, I did not want our center to experience the recession. I wanted us to continue to thrive and be very alive and vibrant for our members to come in and experience life and learn how to experience and move through those situations. And so our center decided not to participate. Now that doesn't mean individuals didn't participate, but I decided as the spiritual leader, let's call that a collective consciousness that we're not going to do that. What is your consciousness about your future? Are you holding authority over your life experiences, or are you giving your authority over to something or someone else? Thank you. This is a direct quote. These are all direct quotes, but I love this one. One of the indications that we are in a sick society today is the fact that too few people look ahead with great expectations. 1950. Do you see a cycle here? I bet it was said in the 60s too, in the 70s too, in the 80s too, and the 90s too, right? I bet this has been said by every generation. What's different now? Nothing. Nothing, really, except what? Consciousness. Your consciousness, your belief system, your authority. There have been external factors all over the divine place for centuries. When do we buy into them? As soon as we allow them to purchase us. Write that one down. But I love that. He wrote we're in a sick society. That was 1950. Some of you people go, God, I long for the 50s. Things were so easy. Poodle skirts and leather jackets. You know? And yet this was the dialogue then too. Are you following what I'm doing here? When did he say that? 1950s. But it seems relevant today. It's as if he wrote it today, doesn't it? Kind of a timeless thing that's going on here. A timeless theme. What you believe to be true about yourself becomes your law, and the law puts it into action. Your expectation of your world is actually an expectation of and for yourself. How many of you have been articulating a really positive life message for yourself, for our country, for your family, and your community? Openly articulating it, believing it, or how many of you are getting into a ditch having a conversation? Just pick up the news. There's people getting thrown in the ditch all the time. So I'm just asking myself and other people, if this is the law of your life, and you think and you say and experience the law of your life, then what law are you putting out there for you to experience? Listen to your dialogue. Listen to your internal dialogue. Look at what you're reading. Look at what you're internalizing. That will tell you exactly where you're going to go, because that's going to be an expectation of and for your life. How many of you really want to experience all the dialogue that's going on all around us? I want to experience a great life. So I want to call this center, we're going to be, fail-proof. We're going to be fail-proof. We're going to be successful. All of its participants, if you believe that. We have to have that consciousness that we will rise above all things external. Does that make sense? Together, please. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. Let's do that again. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. Do you like that? Wouldn't you love to have that as your affirmation, your agenda, your law? It can be if you shut up about the rest of the stuff. Me too. Me included. I'm not saying I don't do that, but that's what I'm saying. If this is what I want to be my law, then this can't be secondary. That has to be primary. And I need to cut the secondary conversations out. The ones that are telling me the things that are wrong, or that appear to be wrong, or that appear to be futurizing my negative experience. Did you catch that? Futurizing my negative experience? Isn't that what worrying is? I'm just futurizing my negative experience? At what end? For what purpose? Insomnia? Diarrhea? Prescription drugs? Over-the-counter drugs? Alcohol? What is it? At what expense am I futurizing my negative life? My relationships, my health, my finances? Am I lecturing too hard? It's this Christmas ornament I'm wearing. All right. There is a divine discontent. It is a normal condition. 19 what? What does it say? There is a divine discontent. And you thought this was new. It's a normal condition. If you don't have it, you are bound in the lethargy of false contentment based on an untrue idea of security. Ooh. Grabbing these slides on the way out, aren't you? No, y'all are going, I'm going to send this CD to somebody. I know exactly who I'm going to send this to. There is a divine discontent. It's normal in your life and in the life of our country and the life of our people. That divine discontent is a normal condition. Don't try to put it down because something else is trying to come from it. If not, we get in this lax sense of security that everything is okay when it's really not. Only a forward-looking person with a discontent of things as they are is capable of creating a new heaven and a new earth. There you go. But you have to be a forward-looking person with the discontent and create the idea that we are going to create heaven and earth. Not the politicians of the world, not the government of the world, but who? You, me, sitting on these chairs in this very room. You will create the success of your own business. You will create your own personal financial security. You will create your own loving relationships. You will create all things. They're not going to create that out there for you. You will create it in here. I love Dr. Tom Costa, my buddy, my mentor. You know, that's like I said last week, that's him on the wall. That's not Ernest Holmes over there. You know, he always said, because there was, you know, when we were in training, when we were in ministerial training, there were people getting elected and there were elections going on, all sorts of things were happening in the world, the country, the world, you know, everything. There was just crises all over. And he just said, you know, Joe, I've never let any one of them impact my personal future because I saw my personal future over what was going on in the external. And so it happened, but I just said, it's not happening to me. And whatever did happen, if it happened to me, it happened through me, and something better came of it as a result. I just had to wake up to that idea. Does that make sense? Now, this was really kind of floored me because, you know, we're always saying live in the present, be fully present. This kind of floored me when I read this. Never be satisfied with the present, for this impedes the birth pangs of that which will be. It prevents the new from having conception in your thinking. So that kind of contradicts all the stuff that we talk about being in the present, staying in the moment. You know how we do that? So I think it's okay to be okay in the moment, but you have to be open to the new. Because usually when we're okay in the moment, you know what we say? Don't touch a thing. Don't touch a thing. I'm doing great. Don't touch a thing. Don't change anything. Don't upset my apple cart. Don't tip the boat over. Don't rock the boat. You know what I'm saying? All those things. Maybe. discontent with forward thinking, leaving an opening for your good to become better. Leave an opening for your good to become better. Does this make sense? Say there, please. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. It is spiritually essential to keep your vision of the future positive no matter what others say or believe. You are not the sign of the times. Amen? Don't even think I need to elaborate on that. Powerful stuff. Written when? 1950s. Don't you love that? I just love the fact that this was written. It just sounds like it was written yesterday. Try watching the news with one of your textbooks. Hear one thing, look up another. It'll shift everything. It was a great experience. If you believe that the mind of God is a ceaseless source of creative ideas, then you cannot indulge in the pessimistic attitude of the world. Written when? 1950s. Once again, written when? 1950s. If you believe in the mind of God, you cannot indulge in what's being said outside there in the world. You can only allow yourself to experience that which you are ready to experience by divine right consciousness. And divine right consciousness is always calling you to play higher and better. Knock it in the ditch. Makes sense, doesn't it? Is this new? 1950s. I wasn't even born yet. It was 13 years before my time, a decade before my time. No one has any ideas what the next 10 years will bring. Love this. Listen to this. Written when? No one has any ideas what the next 10 years will bring, but those who live from higher viewpoints of life will have little to fear. Written when? Are you getting my point? All this seems so new and fresh and scary out there. And the conversations and the news and the media and the Facebook and the social media and the posting and blah, 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 blah. But the person who has that divine discontent with the forward-looking mind and the idea that will go from a higher viewpoint will have nothing to fear. Enter into the fear, get ready for the fear to manifest. Amen. Sealed. Amen means sealed in truth. Amen, amina in Aramaic, sealed in truth. So if you want to seal your fear in truth, meaning in law, because it's going to become your law, then think that because it will be that for you. God always takes care of those who take care of their own states of mind and keeps them on the constructive side of life. Yeah? What constructive ideas do you have about the next year, or 2, or 5, or 10? What constructive ideas do you have? Or are you just saying, I just want to maintain, I got to slide through this just has to go away, blah, 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 I got to get through this, blah, 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 blah. Hey, not too constructive, is it? Sameness. Does the universe tolerate sameness? No. What is it looking for? Expansion. Universe is always expanding, not contracting. I want to see expanding minds in my congregation, myself included. Together, please. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security. Last couple slides, I went a little long. And then we've got a ceremony at the end after the offertory. You are at the starting point for the spiritual revolution to begin about a better world and an infinite cosmos in which you are a part. Again, you are at the starting point for the spiritual evolution to bring about a better world and an infinite cosmos in which you are a part. Written when? 1950. Some of you have been participating for decades. You didn't even know you were participating for these decades in this idea. How are you doing? Evaluate yourself. Don't tell me your score, but evaluate yourself. Some of you were born in early before the 50s. Long before the 50s. So you were a participant. We've all been a participant in this. But you're at a starting point again, and a spiritual revolution is his words exactly. Not my words, his words. A spiritual revolution, bringing about a better world in this infinite cosmos of potential of which you are a part. Written when? There are no finalities. Everything is changeable. Everything is flexible. Do not sign away your spiritual authority. Stand and authorize your experience. Hear me? As we go into the wonderful holiday meals with family and friends, there are no finalities. Everything is changeable. Everything is flexible. Do not sign away your spiritual authority. Stand and authorize your experience. Don't let anyone authorize your experience. Pretend you have one of those fraud checks on your credit card. You know how when sometimes I'll get a fraud alert on my credit card if I'm spending money where I shouldn't. Or they don't recognize it, right? They spend it where I don't recognize. If I'm in another country and I charge something, they won't approve the charge. It will say, your card has been declined, and I'll get really embarrassed because I'll know I pay my bills, but it has this fraud alert. So I want you to activate your fraud alert over the next couple weeks as you enter into conversations and people with parties, and activate that fraud alert so when something comes up and it's not going to be your truth, you activate your fraud alert and you decline the purchase in your consciousness. Doesn't mean you have to have a big debate with that's who's trying to sell you the bit of goods, but you decline it in your mind. Stand in your own spiritual truth. Authorize your experience. What have you been authorizing in your mind about your experience over the next year, 5 years, 10 years? What have you authorized so far? Whatever you're reading, whatever you're talking about, whatever you're thinking about you are authorizing that experience. Together. I now affirm that my future is one of progress, creative activity, and financial security, and so it is. There we go.